You're going to edit all of it no matter what to make it look really good. Yeah.
Welcome to Bishop Watterson Volleyball on the new YouTube channel for the Bishop Watterson Sports Network. Our first adventure is Eagles Volleyball, kicking off the 2025 season. It's a new era in Bishop Watterson Volleyball as the man to my left, Kevin Schmalzreid, takes over as head coach. Kevin, first of all, welcome to the Bishop Watterson Sports Network.
Thank you.
And to BWHS. It's great having you.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's very good to be here.
I imagine you're very excited as we record this a day and a half before your first match against Ursuline Academy on Saturday. What's going through your mind right now?
Honestly, just ready to play volleyball. It's been, August? So it's been 6-ish months of a lot of preparation to actually play volleyball. And something that I didn't appreciate prior to navigating that 6 months was how much work goes into actually playing that first volleyball match. I'm very much a volleyball guy, so I am ready for volleyball to be played.
Before we get into this year's team, let's talk a little bit about your background so our audience can get to know you a little bit better, right?
Sure, yep.
So you are a native of the Keystone State, Pennsylvania.
That's correct.
What was it like growing up there, and when did you start playing volleyball?
So growing up in Pennsylvania was very different in the area that I grew up than in Columbus, Ohio. I started playing volleyball when I was in 6th grade. That's the first time that it was available to me. So as a kid, I wasn't able to play structured volleyball anywhere younger than that. So as soon as I was able to play, they implemented a 5th and 6th grade team when I was in 6th grade, and that's when I started playing. My dad, classic, like my dad was my first coach situation.
Right.
He played club volleyball at the college level. And he would tell you that he was pretty good. He probably was pretty good, but comparatively speaking, the scale is massively different now. But so then it was sort of just snowballed because I played a bunch of other sports growing up, and then volleyball, by the time I was in 10th grade, kind of took over everything else, and I played summer JOs, winter JOs, and then high school volleyball as well.
And then you matriculate on to Lindenwood University in St. Louis.
Yep.
How was that experience for you, playing collegiately?
Lindenwood was a good experience. I'm one of those guys that always says no experience is bad experience, like it's all just experience. So there was a lot of adversity that I faced as an athlete and as a human being at Lindenwood, but it all ended up in the positive, and I look back on that situation and everything that I learned and how I grew as bringing me to this point and shaping me into who I am today and educating me in a ton of different ways. So I wouldn't trade that time, even though there were times of difficulty. I wouldn't trade that for anything. And competing at the collegiate level and really kind of finding my footing of where I wanted to be with athletics overall was it really set the pulse for me of understanding how I shook out in the athletic world at large, including the collegiate volleyball world.
And you have post-collegiate playing experience as well, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so there is a budding men's professional league inside the States, which is called the Volleyball League of America. There used to be a couple, but now the VLA is what it's called, is the only one that's still going. And essentially, it's been going since, I think, 2020, and I played for an expansion team in 2021 based out of Cleveland, and then in 2022 started my own organization, the Columbus Crimson, which is what I pretty much just coach now because I'm old, but then I played and coached for them since 2021, or 2022, essentially.
We're with Kevin Schmalzreid, Watterson's first year head volleyball coach, and prior to coming to Bishop Watterson coach, you spent the last 2 years as an assistant at Dublin Scioto.
Dublin Jerome,
yes,
yep.
With under Coach Andrea Balin.
Yes.
For a couple seasons. You also coach club volleyball. Can you talk about the last couple seasons at Jerome and what you do out for the club as well?
Yeah, so the last couple seasons at Jerome were my first in the structured high school setting, because I had coached in some middle schools and had coached club before. But at Jerome, I was able to get more exposure to what a prominent Columbus, Ohio high school volleyball program looks like, which, touching back on that experience from basically small town PA, is very different and just it's much more all-encompassing than what I had been used to growing up. And so the amount of impact that you're able to have on a kid's life is much greater because your involvement is so much more than just 2 hours a day at practice or whatever it is. And so the opportunity, I was in the Jerome program and was happy over there, and then the opportunity came up to take Bishop Watterson, and I basically told myself, well, if I want to take a head coaching job in the next 5 years, this is the one that I want to take. And so I jumped in head first after it. I've navigated the club world for several years now. It is an interesting world, and each of those clubs are, of course, they're kind of their own organization. And from both sides, there's like overlap of school and club and all that kind of stuff. So it's just, the club environment, all the clubs have so many coaches, and so that type of an opportunity is really like what you make of it, in that it's not as there's not as much responsibility unless you take on more responsibility at those clubs. So it's more like you're shoulder to shoulder with 20 plus other coaches. A lot of these clubs are huge, but here, obviously we have a coaching staff, but it's a lot more individual responsibility. At a club, it's like you can kind of you can make of it what you will.
Sure.
At the club level.
Now you take the reins of a program which has had tremendous success through the years. Your predecessor, Stephanie Grisham, in her 8 years, led Watterson to 7 consecutive district crowns through last year. Mm-hmm. They made 3 state Final Four appearances in 5 years coming into this year. So obviously a marquee program to take over, but it's kind of interesting in that 7 seniors departed off last year's team that were constructive participants and everything. So you take over a program with great pedigree, but there's a lot of new faces aside from Layla Hoying that you're going to see this year.
Yeah, right. And that's something that I look forward to, and I'm sure that they look forward to, in terms of getting, because like you said, a lot of those players haven't seen significant time playing before, but they have all been on the sidelines wanting to play just as much as the next girl. So I look at it as an opportunity. It's all opportunity. Obviously, there's a lot of expectations, a lot of high expectations, which is, in some sense, that's what you want, right? If you have lofty goals and expectations for yourself and for your team, you want to challenge yourself in that way, because the scale is that much harder. Getting all of those girls up to speed and pushing the right buttons and trying to get everybody to understand what the expectations are of the program based on the standard that has been set is certainly a challenge, and something that we work on every single day. But also, I've already seen basically the rich tradition of Bishop Watterson in the future pipeline that is coming down the line. And it's exciting to see all that potential in 8th graders or 7th graders, or even freshmen, sophomores, and young players. Even though that upper echelon, like you said, they graduated 7 seniors, and we have 7 seniors again. So we're still going to be kind of pushing out a lot of upperclassmen after this year, and the expectation is that the next person will fill that hole, fill that gap.
It's a new era for Bishop Watterson volleyball. Kevin Schmalzreid, first-year head coach, joining me. We're just right now, as we record this, a day and a half ahead of the season opener against Ursuline. Just right now, as we record this, a day and a half ahead of the season opener against Ursuline Academy, Saturday here at the high school. Come down, check it out. 11:30 varsity time start match. The start of the match at 11:30. How about the JV? What time does that get?
JV and freshmen are at 10.
At 10. So we encourage everyone to come on down. And Ursuline Academy is a program rich in tradition. Watterson has yet to beat the Ursuline Academy Lions, but
yes,
they faced them twice last year, the season opener. Mm-hmm. They fell in a competitive 4-set match, and then in the state semifinals, they fell in 3 sets. So a lot of interesting turnover on that team as well. They lost a lot of seniors, so it's going to be an interesting matchup on Saturday, wouldn't you say? Yeah,
for sure. I think that both from their perspective, and I don't know their coach or anything like that, but obviously they have a very respected program. I think they lost in the state championship last year, graduated a bunch of seniors, so they have a lot of new faces and a lot of new stuff too. And so both of us are probably going to be feeling each other out a little bit for potential future contests to see how we kind of match up against each other. But it seems like to me, and I don't know from their perspective, but it seems like a very blank slate. Both are well-respected high-level programs in the Columbus, well, they're not in Columbus obviously, but in the Ohio area. And so we're going to throw down on Saturday and see what happens.
Yeah. And it's kind of a thing with your team. I mean, you haven't been here that long. You're still getting to know your players, so nothing is static. Things are in flux. Is that right?
Yeah, 100%. That's honestly a message that has been clearly sent, is I genuinely don't know these girls outside of a couple months. So everybody gets a clean slate for good or bad, because the amount of repetitions that I've seen them get are the only repetitions that I've seen them get. So what you did last year, or what club you played on for the most part, or all that stuff, while it may mean something to them in their mind, like if I haven't seen that come to life, then that doesn't mean anything to me. And one of the things that we are really working on is that if you're put into a specific role, I expect you to perform in that role, or at least try your best to perform in that role, because I'm a fresh set of eyes, that I'm not typecasting you based on what your club coach thinks or did or whoever. So it's a clean slate for every player. But then the question is, what are you going to do with that clean slate? And that's seniors all the way down to freshmen.
One interesting, supremely talented player to watch, Layla Hoying. It must be a luxury for you to come in here and inherit a player like Layla, who is headed to Ohio State, a 4-year varsity player. Everyone knows her accolades. A lot of plaudits about Layla. You could just go on and on and on. Just your thoughts on getting to coach Layla Hoying.
Yeah, obviously she's an extremely decorated player in basically every aspect that a player could be up to her age, really. It's a privilege and an honor to coach any of them, quite frankly, but to walk into a program and have Layla basically there already is something that is not something that I take lightly, but I also look at it as it's a great responsibility as well, because knowing that she's already committed to a high-level program like Ohio State, her and I have already had many frank discussions, and we will have many more frank discussions, that it's like we want her to get the most out of this year as well, and what are her personal goals outside of the accolades that she's already racked up and the accolades that she will likely rack up again this season, so that she can get the absolute most out of her senior season and then get a big head of steam headed into Ohio State.
Last few moments here with Kevin Schmalzreid, Watterson's new head volleyball coach entering this 2025 season. The season opener against Ursuline Academy is upon us. And what kind of system do you like to employ? What can we expect from your volleyball squad out there? Do you run a 5-1, 5-2? I mean,
we can get pretty nerdy from a volleyball perspective. Those things are still kind of shaking themselves out. We've tested 6-2, 5-1, 5-2, and some other crazy things in there as well. I have a theory that right now it looks like we'll probably be starting with a 5-2, but we'll see how that goes. Even these first matches, like, we're shaking ourselves out a little bit still, and statistical productivity is going to guide kind of those decisions, but also the flow of the game. And being a setter myself, setters unfortunately get judged a little bit more harshly because I understand the nuances of the game a little bit better, what's going on, relationships with hitters, relationships with passers and stuff like that. So it's going to come down to literally who can manage the team better, and maybe that is a 5-2, maybe it's a 5-1, maybe it's a 6-2. We'll see how those things shake out. Suffice it to say, all options are on the table, depending on, and what we do will be dictated by how those things play out.
Top two setters coming into this opener would be Ava Pickin and Maeve Boyle?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Ava Pickens, senior. I think she was on junior varsity last year.
Yeah, she came in and played really well at the end of the season in the playoffs when Emma went down in that region semifinal.
Yes, right, and when Emma got hurt. And then Maeve is only going to be a sophomore, so that's exciting to have a young player like that contesting for time all the way at the varsity level.
Well, exciting stuff happening. I know you're thrilled for this opener coming up. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Against Ursuline. We'll talk to you more, Coach.
Sounds good.
Welcome to Watterson. All right.